When a hardline version of Brexit was pushed through Parliament in 2020, and remember, I voted for Brexit. I didn't realise any government could mess it up to this extent. We had 14 ministers at that time in Boris Johnson's government who had received donations from individuals or companies linked to Russia. Is that the reason why this economic crime bill is so late and the measures in it so limited? And do the £3.5 million in Russian donations in the decade following 2010 explain why we have ignored Russian interference in our politics, why our intelligence services weren't allowed to dig deep into the network of rich Russians and Conservative Party politicians, or why Parliament failed to push forward with the concerns brought to light by the Russia report? And I asked, I think last week, time goes so strangely here, I think it was last week, what do Russian donors to the Conservative Party get for their money? I mean, this is a question that the whole country would like to know the answer to. Is it that money stopping the government putting sanctions on large numbers of rich people who are close to Putin? Do the donations explain why we have fewer sanctions on Russia than the EU or Canada or even Switzerland? There are only just over 300 UK sanctions against Russia, 35 of which have been introduced since the 22nd of February. Before that, so few. And by comparison, the US has sanctioned almost 1,200 individuals and companies, a fifth of which have been introduced in the last 2 weeks. So London is still a playground for oligarchs, for oil barons, and outright financial fraudsters. And, as has been said, it's not just Russians. There are unsavoury elites from almost every country on earth. And this new legislation that has got to be used against all illegitimate, dubious members of the global elite, and not simply a political tool against whoever we think our enemies are at that particular point. And there's got to be a constant tightening of the laws that constrain the mega-rich. The government can't be allowed to rest on this singular piece of legislation or this double piece of legislation and say that we did it.